Hi guys, I hope you had a nice relaxing spring break with no math to do. Um, please, 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 I know I've said it a bunch of times, but reach out at any time for any help, whether it's through email or Remind or you want to do a Zoom session. I'm here to help you at any point. Okay, so let's dive into our next section. So this is actually going to be in the right triangles tab. Okay? I'm going to skip over this first slide and kind of dive right into this. Now, a lot of this should be review from geometry. Now, I know it's been a little bit since you've had geometry, so just follow along with me as I go through some of these examples here. Okay, so first of all, as you know, triangles have three sides and three angles. Okay, angles are labeled, and let's be clear with this, with a capital letter, right, and sides are labeled with a lowercase letter. Okay, so this is side B, A, C, angle A. Okay, now the angle is always across from the side that it matches with. So if this is angle A, side A is across from it. Now, if I ever give the directions to solve a triangle, okay, that means you're going to be finding all sides and all angles. So if you ever get those directions, that's what that means. You're finding all sides and all angles. Okay, so let's take a look at an example here. So it says solve triangle ABC. So first of all, this indicates we have a 90-degree angle. This tells us that angle B is 51.2 degrees. So we all know there's 180 degrees in a triangle, so let's subtract out 90, 51.2, and we can find that angle A is 38.8 degrees. Okay, so at this point we have all of the angles. Now we have one side, so we need to find the two missing sides. It does not matter which one you go for first, it will just dictate which trig function you're going to use. So I found side C first. You could totally go for side B, but you'd have to use a different trig function. Okay, so to find side C, we are going to use trig. Because we have a right triangle, we can use our trig ratios. So if you look at this, if I'm going for side C, which is just the one that I chose, that's the hypotenuse. Okay, I'm going to use 51.2. That's the angle I picked. Generally, if they give an angle that's not 90 degrees, one of the other two, I use the one that they gave. Just God forbid you found this one wrong, then everything you do from there is going to be wrong also. Okay, so I'm going to be using this guy. So according to angle B, this is the adjacent side, and this is the hypotenuse. So that means that I should use cosine. So cosine of 51.2 degrees, make sure, we're going to use our calculator here, so make sure your calculator is in degree mode for this. Okay, so cosine of 51.2 degrees equals the adjacent side, which is 18, over the hypotenuse, which is our C, which is what we're trying to find. So if you want to throw this over 1, you in essence can just cross multiply here. So cosine of 51.2 degrees times C equals 18. So to solve for C, divide the cosine 51.2 degrees over. And you can punch that in your calculator, and I just did to one decimal place 28.7 centimeters. Okay? Now, to find B, you could do another trig function, or you could just do Pythagorean theorem because you have a right triangle. So A squared, so 18 squared plus B squared equals C squared, which is 28 squared. Once again, you can punch that in your calculator, and I did to one decimal place 22.4. So I have all the sides and all the angles. Okay, I want you to take a minute, whether you do it off to the side or on a scratch piece of paper or whiteboard, whatever you want to do. And I want you to try this one. Pause the video. When you hit play, I'm going to start to do all the work for it. Okay, so similar setup as before. I subtracted the two if given angles to get the third one. I did cosine again of this guy. You don't have to, but that's what I recommend. You could have done also a sine of that to start and find b if you wanted to. But so I did cosine of adjacent over the hypotenuse, solved from there. This is a little bit different than the last one in that here we were given the hypotenuse. So to solve this, you really just need to take cosine of 21.4 times the 9.3. And then down here, I did Pythagorean theorem and got b to be 3.4 centimeters. I just labeled it 1, 2, 3 because there were 3 missing pieces. Okay, let's go to this one. Now in this one, notice that you only have the 90-degree angle. You don't have the other two. We have 2 of the 3 side lengths. So if I were you, I would start just by doing Pythagorean theorem to get the first side length out of the way. You don't have to. That's just what I would recommend. So 41.5 squared plus y squared equals 63.4 squared. And I got that y is 47.9. Okay. Now, to find a missing angle, it does not matter which one you go for first, x or y. I did x. Okay, so I started here with x. Now, according to x, and I'm going to use the 2 side lengths that were given. Once again, just let's pretend that you got this wrong, then everything else you're gonna do from there is gonna be wrong. So I'm going to use the 2 they gave us. So according to angle x, this is the this is the opposite, and this is the hypotenuse. So that would mean I should use sine. So sine of x equals opposite over hypotenuse. Now, we found in the last chapter, if you want to get rid of sine, you need to do sine inverse. What you do to one side, you do to the other. So make sure you're in degree mode still. Do sine inverse of 41.5 divided by 63.4, and you should get 40.9 degrees. Now, to find y from there, just subtract 90 and 40.9 out of 180, and you should get 49.1 degrees. Oops, I didn't label that, sorry. Okay. Now, this one I'm going to start you on. Here you don't have a picture, so it says solve the following, DEF. So I'm going to draw this in. Now notice that they tell me that D is the 90-degree angle, so DEF. You totally could have gone DEF also, it does not matter. So now, if this is E, side length E, the side lengths are lowercase, would be 18 here. Okay? Be very clear on how you label this. Okay. So if you want to take a minute and pause and try this on your own from here, okay, and I can walk through it in 1 second. Okay. So I started by finding the missing angle, subtracting from 180, and then I did side D first. You totally could have done otherwise. You could have used angle E and side E and done a tangent because you have that angle equals opposite over adjacent. Okay, you could have gone that road. I did sine because I have the opposite and then I can find the hypotenuse. Now from here, I have 2 of my 3 sides, so I could just do Pythagorean theorem. So 18 squared plus f squared equals 33.4 squared, and f is 20.1. Okay? Take a minute, pause the video, you try this guy. Okay, so I was given 2 of the 3 sides. So I found the third side first. You don't have to do that first. You could do that later. It doesn't matter. I did Pythagorean theorem there. From there, then I said, okay, I picked angle. What did I do? Y. You could have picked angle X. I picked angle Y. So I said tan of Y equals opposite over adjacent according to the angle that I picked. So 34 over 28. Do tan inverse of both sides. And when I did that, I got 50.5 degrees. And then to find the third angle, just subtract from 180. And I got that angle X is 39.5 degrees. Okay, the last one for this video. So when you look at this, you should be like, oh, I can find the missing angle. Subtract these two from 180, and you should get that this angle is 72 degrees. However, right, you do not have a right angle, so you can only use your trig ratios for right triangles. Keep that in mind. So what you should recognize, though, are these two angles are the same, so you have an isosceles triangle. Okay? So what you can do here is you can drop down a vertical and split this. Since it's isosceles, well, then we also know that this is 15 meters. Just throwing that out there. When we drop that down, we are creating an altitude, and it creates two right triangles. Okay? So from here, we can look at one of these at a time. What this also does, though, is it splits this up top. So these are now both 18 degrees. Okay? So if I pull out just one of these, you can see that you have 72 degrees, 90, and 18 degrees, and I know that this is 15. Okay? So what I really need to find to solve this triangle, okay, I have all the angles, I have two of the sides, is I really need this bottom side, because remember, at the end of the day, you're solving the big triangle. So I really don't even care about what this is. I need this. So call it whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to call it X so it doesn't get confused with the ABC. So if you think about this, according to pick one of the angles, it does not matter which one, right? I did angle 72. Right? According to that, this is the adjacent and the hypotenuse. So I'm going to do cosine of 72 degrees equals x over, you can really just multiply those two, and you should get that x is 4.6 meters. So now, when you go back, if this is 4.6 meters, what happens here with an isosceles triangle are these are both two congruent right isosceles triangles. Okay? Well, the two individuals aren't isosceles, sorry. This is also 4.6. So this whole base, little side B here, is going to be 9.2. So the things that we needed to find, we needed to find that that angle was 72. Okay, so angle C, 72 degrees. We needed to find that side A is 15 due to the isosceles part, and then that also side B is 9.2. Okay. From here, I'm going to give you some practice in the textbook, and there will be a second video for word problems for you to work through. Please reach out with any questions. Have a good one, guys.